Box Star Forum, what's going on, guys? It's your boy Terry L, and I'm back at y'all with another one. The big fight's upon us, as you know, October the 9th, this Saturday in Vegas. It's Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder's trilogy time, y'all. Trilogy time. Trilogy. We've had a few trilogies in our time in boxing. We've had the Ali Frazier trilogy. That was a pretty good one. We've had some doubles, which was pretty interesting. We haven't had many trilogies, but we had a few. Um, I think the one that should have been a trilogy was Evander Holyfield, Lennox Lewis. I'd have loved for them to get it on 3 times, but they didn't. And but this one proves to be a really interesting fight, very intriguing fight. I've always been 50-50 with this fight, only because my heart says Wilder and my boxing brain always tells me Fury. I was really nervous for Wilder in the first fight because I felt that Tyson's boxing ability would always prove to be elusive and too much problems for the bronze bomber Deontay Wilder. But listen, anything can happen in boxing, especially heavyweight boxing. As we all know, the cliche says one punch changes a fight. But let's give you some updates on what's going on with this fight. So first of all, um, the fight, as you know, was delayed from the previous date, which should have been in late August, early September, and we're now having the fight on for, early September. Now the fight's on for October the 9th. But here we are. And apparently the war of words begin. Deontay Wilder not saying much in his press conferences, giving Tyson Fury the silent treatment. Tyson Fury, to me, the master of mind games, I don't think will be fazed by any of that. In fact, it probably plays into his hands because in his mind, he'll probably feel that Deontay Wilder's head's gone and is focusing too much on trying to knock him out. We all know that Deontay Wilder has that neutralizer, that big right hand. He throws that beautiful, pretty straight right hand with a lot of speed and a lot of power. And we've seen it in action many a times over his illustrious career. Tyson Fury has recently stated that he's not happy with the fact that he can't choose his own gloves. As we know, in the second fight, Deontay Wilder made a huge deal about Tyson Fury's gloves, and what then became known as the Glove Gate. Personally, I didn't buy too much into that. I know some people who felt that Tyson Fury cheated with the glove issue. Whether he cheated or not, you still can't get over the fact that he really laid down an ass whooping on my man Deontay Wilder. He boxed his ass off in his first fight, and he boxed his ass off in the second fight. So I can't see how any of that changes. Now, with the issue with the gloves, throughout all the boxing, just in case you guys don't know this, a lot of boxers have been known to do something to their gloves. I'm going to name a couple of fighters. When Evander Holyfield fought Michael Dokes, I believe they were saying that Michael Dokes was putting something on him, and Holyfield trained at the time cut his glove, and so therefore, when the glove is deflated, once you hit somebody with pretty much bare knuckles, it's like fighting bare knuckles. So the gloves gives you an advantage. It was never proven, but there was talk of that happening. When Ali fought Henry Cooper, the late Henry Cooper, especially in the first fight, there was talk that Ali cut his glove in that first fight, because as you know, Henry Cooper, if you watch the tape of that fight, Henry Cooper dropped Ali, and Ali got up, and the fight was stopped because he beat Henry Cooper so bad, the fight was stopped on cuts. But there was talk that Angelo Dundee cut Ali's glove, was never really proven. And so on and so forth. So there's a lot of well-known fighters in the past that have been known for this glove gate issue. So before I jump on a bandwagon about Tyson Fury's glove, I'm just going to focus on the boxing first, and then we can talk about whether or not the glove was cut or not. So irrespective of what happened with the glove, if he had his thumb in the glove or his glove had no padding, let's talk about the boxing. The boxing, obviously, Wilder will argue that, yeah, the boxing might have been this, that, and the other, but I was affected by the fact that the glove was not a real standardized glove. We'll see after this fight whether the glove really, really mattered. I think you could put somebody in Everlast gloves or Reyes gloves. some boxers have a feel for a certain type of gloves, but reality is you got to be able to box. And the boxer pretty much, for the most part, will use any glove given to him, issued to him. He still has to do his job. So the glove plays an issue, but I don't think it plays a major part. That's my opinion. Now, Tyson Fury can't choose his gloves, so he's upset about that. We'll wait till Saturday night to see if that's a big issue, if that really will materialize. Will he be able to use his own glove? I'm not sure. But the Boxing Commission in the U.S., especially in Vegas and in Nevada, will have their say, and what they say goes. Another issue is Deontay Wilder has seemingly bulked up considerably this fight than he did in the previous two fights against Tyson Fury. I'm not a big fan of fighters bulking up. I understand putting on a bit of weight mass, and it helps, especially when Usyk fought Joshua. As you saw, he put on a little bit more mass to get over that 200-pound limit. As we know, with heavyweights, you weigh over 201 pounds, you're a heavyweight. So Usyk came in not looking his usual trim self as he was at cruiserweight, but he made decent weight and he boxed Joshua's face off at a heavier weight. So bulking up isn't necessarily a big issue, but bulking up too much is an issue for me, because your muscles need oxygen. And if you're bulked up and you're trying to carry that muscle mass around the ring for 12 rounds, it can play a huge factor. Just ask Anthony Joshua. That's why he trimmed his ass down. So bulking up isn't a really good thing. I actually think bulking up can play against you. But let's not forget Tyson Fury, when he walks into the ring, he's going to weigh up something like 35 pounds more than Deontay Wilder. So maybe Deontay Wilder and his team feel that he has a bit more mass. He won't be as prone to be pushed around and bullied around the ring as he was in fight number 2 against Tyson Fury. Because as we know, Tyson Fury pretty much bullied him in the second fight and had his way with him. So that's probably what Tyson Fury is banking on in the third fight. And this is pretty much what Deontay Wilder is banking on trying to nullify in the third fight. So the weight issue could be a factor for both fighters. I heard that Tyson Fury is weighing heavier this fight than he was in the previous 2 fights. Now, in the first fight, I believe he was weighing something like 248, 250. On the night, he probably was weighing something like 250, the low 250s. Deontay Wilder weighing in his 218, 220. So he gave away about 30 pounds in weight to Tyson Fury and still dropped him twice in that fight. In the second fight, Deontay Wilder still gave away another 30 pounds plus, but Tyson Fury weighed approximately 260 that night. So Tyson Fury was saying that he's going to weigh even more on the third fight. Now, I'm not sure if that's a good idea. Just ask my main man, Andy Ruiz Jr. You can't go anything close to 280 and run around a boxing ring fighting a highly skilled fighter. Even though your boxing skills will play a factor, but the heavier you are can be a detriment. Just want to talk about weight, talk to someone like Lennox Lewis. As the older he get, the older Lennox Lewis got, he was putting on a bit more weight. So he was getting in the ring at 255, 260 some fights, but he was constantly weighing around 240, 245 most fights. And that was a really good weight for him because he's a big man. He matured into his body. So, 245 is a good weight. Now, with Tyson Fury, he may feel I'm too light. I'm giving away too much at 245. So that's a factor. Now, in the heavyweight division, you don't really have to make a weight class. It's not like any other weight class, like the light heavies, cruiserweights, welterweights. You have to make a certain weight class and be at that certain weight or that weight limit, either dead on it or just below it for the fight. In heavyweight division, as I said before, anything over just say over 205 is a heavyweight. So the cruiserweights are just below 200. Heavyweights got to be above 201 according to the boxing rec. So because Deontay Wilder is, by layman terms, a small heavyweight compared to all the other heavyweights. He's not a naturally big man in terms of size. He's a tall man. He's gangly, but he has a bit of size and mass because he's weighing solid at 218, 220. So he's pretty much 218, 220 of muscle. And we know he packs a punch. He packs a punch. Now, for me, I actually think my prediction would be that I can't see too much different in the third fight than what happened in the second fight. My heart definitely says Wilder. It's been Wilder from the very first fight. My boxing brain will always rule out and go with the better boxer. I've always been about boxing, and I always feel that the old adage that a good boxer will beat a good puncher. And in this case, a good boxer being Tyson Fury, fighting against a really good puncher in Deontay Wilder, who can box a little bit, but not to be a little bit is a bit disrespectful. He can box, but he can't box on the same level as someone like Tyson Fury. I don't even think Deontay Wilder fights on the same level as Anthony Joshua. I think Anthony Joshua fundamentally fights better and boxes better than Deontay Wilder. And we know Usyk is just all around a better boxer than Deontay Wilder. The only thing that will get, if Deontay Wilder did fight Usyk, the only thing that will really trouble Usyk is the fact that he's got someone gangly that has a reach on him and has a powerful right hand, and how he deals with that and how he gets inside to cause Deontay Wilder trouble will be another thing. I think in that matchup, I think Deontay Wilder does a little bit better than people think he would against Usyk if they ever do fight. But sticking to this fight, I think Tyson Fury, it could even go to points. I wouldn't doubt that it goes 12 rounds. And if it goes 12 rounds, it's Tyson Fury all day long. I think Deontay Wilder has to go for a knockout. He has to go for a stoppage. Can Tyson Fury stop him again? I think if the shenanigans remain the same, I think if Deontay Wilder come with the same sort of shenanigans, big costume, face mask, and all that bullshit, I think he has to dumb it down a little bit more, come back to some of the old Deontay Wilder stuff, give himself as much advantage as he possibly can, wear a normal robe like most boxers. Forget all this costume shit. Just come with a normal robe. Forget the face, man. It doesn't work with this guy. Do the old Mike Tyson thing. Come in with some Public Enemy or some, I don't know, some hardcore rap, and just come in, focus, man. Don't waste energy. Save all your energy for this fight. Let Tyson Fury come with, horses and chariots and all that old nonsense. Come in with that stuff. But when you come in the ring, Deontay Wilder, my advice is stay focused. Don't waste negative energy. I know he will be focused, but really save your energy, because I think all that costume stuff, it does play against you. And some of the great fighters in the past, like Mayweather, has done it and he's gotten away with it. But Tyson Fury came in with it, got away with it. And other fighters have tried this old costume stuff and these old shenanigans and plots and trickery when they come out, and it works. But I don't think that Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder should do that. But my prediction is, I'm still 50-50. I'm going to do a 2-part series on this podcast about the fight. But as I stand right now, my heart is saying Deontay Wilder. My head is saying Tyson Fury. It may change in the next 24 hours, next 48 hours before the next podcast. But until then, tell me what you think. Give me your comments. Hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel. Support a brother. Boxstar Forum. We're putting out fresh content. We're paying homage to all the fighters, past, present, and future. And box is in a really good place right now. Some good fights are coming out. Some big fights are to be made. And let's focus on this fight coming October the 9th. Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder. Tell me who you think. That's it for now. I'm on to the next one. Holla back. Peace.